Hi everybody, welcome back to our channel. Thank you for watching, we appreciate it. Today we've got a special guest, Steve Müller. Steve has been an integral part of FERROCSA for no less than 12 years, I would say.
That's right.
Yeah. So we essentially started our web forum back 2007, 2008. You know, those were the days before the modern Facebook and Instas and all those things, where you actually had a community of people that enjoyed talking, sharing pictures, sharing info, knowledge, and so forth. So today we're visiting Steve, and Steve is actually going to give us a slight rundown on his stance and the classics that he's got. So without further ado, Steve.
Well, yes. Basically, I got into the whole Ford game many moons ago. I mean, my dad used to rebuild old Cortinas in Enthusiast for other people, and obviously, I mean, as a little lighty, you want to help your dad. I can also remember getting my first little proper hiding from playing in the oil, my brand new Mickey Mouse shirt. So after that, I was still a young lighty, if you will. My father informed me, listen, this yellow car is yours. Please look after it as I would have. And I mean, that's basically what got me into. It started the Ford flame, if you will.
Alright. So, but then at the same time, that would have been your first car, eh?
That was my first
And
car.
then the Granada, that was a family heirloom,
That's
passed down.
Yeah.
And the Granada?
Granada, basically my grandfather bought that in the mid to late 70s as a second-hand car. After his passing, the Granada was passed to my father and then to me. Obviously, I have a son myself at the moment who's also quite keen on that. Who's actually his namesake, my grandfather and myself. So he will be the fourth generation inheriting that Granada.
So was it the Escort that essentially got you into the classic Ford scene? Tell us why you've amassed so many other classics.
Well, basically, it's like a scratch that never stops itching. As soon as you start getting one, you get that fuel for the next one, and so forth and so forth. So I got the yellow car, my Mark II Escort. That was my first car that my dad gave me. Then the Granada came on my way, and I started thinking around. I wanted the Mark I. So a colleague of mine told me about his neighbor that had a Cortina for sale. So I actually went and had a look at the Cortina. Not really interested in the Cortina. It's not my taste at that stage. And actually it was a green Mark I Escort. So we're gonna have a country. So we negotiated on it, and the Escort family grew. And then as that, it just kept growing and growing, and hopefully financial wise it will stop growing soon. But I've got a lot more plans for this.
It's a proper old school Ford family that has true values in old cars and maintaining and keeping them for what they're supposed to be, which is obviously a very nice thing. Just in a nutshell, which car, if any or many, gave you the most ups or downs? What would you say?
Well, ups wise, yeah, I'm gonna relate back to memories. It will be my Granada or my Mark II 16-hour Sport Escort. I mean, those have been in my family for some time. I've got very, very fond memories of growing up with those two cars. Then the most downs, as any project car, would be Blue Escort, the Mark I.
The Hot Wheels.
The Hot Wheel Escort. I've learned a couple of new words working on that car.
Okay. So Steve, any plans for future classics?
Well, currently, yeah, I've got my eyes set on that. I've got a Mark I panel van that I'm tinkering with. So hopefully I'll get that back on the road, and we'll see from there.
We'll see from there. Well, Steve, we have to thank you guys. Thank you for joining in and watching the content. Just please remember to like and subscribe and share any comments that you may have or questions. We are up for it. Right now, we're going to the garage and going to have a closer look at the beauties. So Steve, please tell us a little bit about this Model Y that you have.
Okay, this is a 1942 Model Y. It's a 900cc motor, 4-speed gearbox. This little guy I found hidden away in small holdings, not far from where I was there. I spent like a day and a half just trying to clear all the spider webs and so forth out of the interior of the car before I could actually get it out of the where it was standing. Got it home and I basically fiddled with it, get it running again. You can see the interior is basically as I found it. So it's just been cleaned up a bit. I'm not 100% sure this is exactly original seats and so forth, but this is how I got it. You'll even see some of the rubbish and so forth. It's hard at the moment. My plans with this car is to have it completely rebuilt in the future. Currently, this has been used for mainly matric farewells or weddings. Doesn't seem a lot of road time. So let me just show off this little bit. Here's the motor, tiny little 900cc motor. This is actually the numbers matching motor to the frame. So this is the original engine. If you have a look, you'll see the little generator still here over there. This used to be 6 volt. I converted it to 12 volt myself. Reason being, finding 6 volt batteries and so forth is nearly impossible these days. And if you do, you're gonna pay arm and a leg. If you look at the wheels, this is basically the tires I got it with. I cannot find new tires. What we did was, we just cleaned it up a bit. You will see over my hand there's a bit of silicone just trying to cover, seal up most of the cracks. It's currently running inner tubes from a motorbike. Plan in the future is, if need be, we're gonna look for something similar from a motorbike just to replace the tires in all. Front here you'll find there's a little hole for your lever, or what do you call it, a slinger. It also starts with that if the battery would not be adequate to start it. Yeah, basically, from this side again. Here's your little toolbox or storage compartment. You'll see this little thing, it's a carburetor. This is the horn actually. It's bigger than most of the engine. This car does run. Like I said, we do use it for some matric farewells and so forth. But at the moment, it's my little garage queen. And yeah, we'll get it back on the road as soon as I can.
All right, well, in short, a true time warp classic. So Steve, I believe this Granada XL Coupe holds a very dear place in your heart. This is a vehicle that's now seeing it through to the 4th generation of the family. Please tell us some more.
Okay, this is a 75 Granada Coupe, 3 liter. It used to be automatic, but as soon as it was acquired back in the, let's say, late 70s, early 80s, the gearbox was changed to a manual gearbox. And also you will see in the engine by photos or video, you will see that it's the radiator was enlarged. The reason for this is my grandfather bought this car mainly for vacational travels. So this was used to pull a caravan, and then obviously for family vacations. Now, like I said previously, my grandfather was the second owner of this car. After him, this car was handed down to my father, then to me, and now the little man next to me is the new owner of this car when he comes of age, obviously. The motor and box, as I mentioned, is a 3-liter V6, manual gearbox, 4-speed. This car was handed down to me quite a couple of years ago, actually, and it's been resting in my possession for that period. My future aspirations with this car is obviously same as with some of the other cars. It's just fixing up a couple of beauty spots. It does come with some age, which needs to be sorted out a bit. But other than that, this will remain in the family as it's been for some time. On this car also you notice the period 1970s mags or wheels, if you want to call it. The cyclone wheels. That was the wheel for the budget, if you want to say it like that, for some people would believe, in for the 70s, early 80s.
80s, yeah. So Steve, you say this vehicle has now been through 3 generations, which means your dad owned and drove this car as well?
Yes, that's correct. He did have it for a very, very brief period before I took ownership of this. But mostly, like I said, also from his side, this was mainly used for vacational purposes.
All right, and I'm sure the people will ask about the color. We're not exactly sure. It's something along the lines of a chocolate brown. The vehicle has been repainted, but details are sort of sketchy or unknown at this stage.
Unfortunately, the details of the repaint was lost to me. This was done long before my time. So the car is repainted in its original color, but unfortunately I'm not 100% sure as to what that color specific naming is.
All right. So thank you so much, Steve. I'm sure that this vehicle is still going to be on the road for many years to come, and your son is eventually going to take the reins. Awesome. Thank you. So here we have one of Steve's, we won't call it a toy, it's a daily if you want to call it. This is a 73 Mark 1, originally fern green. It has since been painted in like Modena green. Steve, let you go.
Alright, so basically this car I've bought back in 2014. A colleague of mine told me about his neighbor that had a Cortina for sale. So when I went to have a look, I actually found this gem, if you will. So basically I had to sell all of my motorbikes to get this, and I had to buy it under the guise of using this as my daily for working bag to slip past the wife. So this is an original motor, 1300 4-speed gearbox. Nothing majorly done to the motor. I've changed the carburetor to a 32 Weaver. I've changed the tappet cover over to an aluminium one, which I can find. But basically, other than that, put on a set of branches, and that's about it. And obviously, then the wheels. The wheels I got by chance, which I would not mention at this stage how and why. But yeah, they were a bit of a score for this car. So basically, This one, like I said, has been in my possession for the last 40 years. You can see on the engine, nothing really majorly done to it. I've been using this mainly as a daily, to be honest. I do switch it about every now and again, but this car runs basically every single day. I got the little quarter bumpers here at the front, came off the back of a panel van, which I got from a friend a couple of years ago. Yeah. Future aspirations, I mean, I'm going to keep this girl going. There's nothing major in the plans for this, except for maybe a better set of seats on the inside. My seats have been in some better days. And then with work-wise, you'll see the other ones covered in a blanket, so I don't get my dirty arse all over it.
How about a lowering job there?
You know what, I like the original look. I'll keep the lowering job for another one, which we'll see later on.
Awesome. Well, being a daily, it needs to be productive and, you know, see you through. So, understandably so. Kind of like a sewing machine. So Steve, this is essentially your toy. Let's call it the Hot Wheels, because everybody refers to this as the Hot Wheels Escort. We apologize for the spare room on the back because we had a porridge wheel overnight. Die mense in Afrikaans sal dit verstaan. And here we go. Steve?
Okay, so basically this is also a 73 Mark 1 Escort two-door. Yeah, as Roy mentioned, unfortunately we had a very untimely porridge wheel there at the back. But obviously we can't plan for these things. So basically this car I bought as a wreck. It was a body empty, there was nothing that was left basically usable in this thing. So everything had to be rebuilt, that you can see in front of you. Motor and box on this one, I've got a 1600 motor, 1500 pistons. It's got an uprated cam, fast road cam, sorry. And then a bit of work on the head, and the exhaust manifold was also a bit tweaked on, running on 40 side drafts. So yeah, and then we got a little man inside here who's the essential owner of the car. Richard?
Yeah,
Why do you like these cars? Why do you like the Escort?
I like them, and I like them when it's fast, and I just like them.
Do you like them to spin? Do you like spinning these cars?
Yes,
Ah, of course you do. Alright, so as you can see, also the bucket seats and the engine modifications that you could see is basically because I've done out of necessity. I did not have or couldn't find the original stuff, and this is basically built as my toy. It's my little play car. The bumpers here in the front, you see the quarter bumpers, they are not perfect, they are homemade. They're made out of rear bumpers of Ford Anglia actually. Then obviously I inherited the car with the fiberglass front spoiler. That's not, obviously not my choice also, but that's how we got it. I had the car repainted in blue with the white stripes. This is as homage to the Hot Wheel or the Fast and Furious car. It was just something that I liked.
AKA Paul Walker, you know, that story.
Exactly. So yeah, there's this car, I've had this car, I think it's been 5 to 6 years maybe. It's been working on it on and off, more off than on in the recent years, but yes.
But it's a very nice everyday, mess around car. You know, if you want to have some fun, be a hooligan, that's pretty much what this one is for. And the rest of the family is obviously for heritage and keeping it stock and original. So Steve, thank you. This is an awesome little car. I hope to see this for many years on the road, especially with your son behind the wheel. Right, Steve, this is a very special Escort as far as I know. It's been in the family since new. So I've had the privilege and honor of actually driving this car today. Totally original and stock standard. The gear shift, the sound, the start. What a lovely car. Steve, please tell us a little bit more.
This car was bought by my father back in 1981 as one of the last Mark II Escorts. He brought it new. So I actually do still have the little license disc of it, the original licensing disc of this car. So yeah, as I mentioned, it's 69 Sport, stock standard as you could get. Original 98,000 Ks on the clock. I was gifted this car by my dad when I turned 16 back in 2000, the year 2000. This car had 36,000 K on the clock when I got it. You know, a young lighty, like a car, you just couldn't help putting up the miles, or the kilometers as we call it. Motor and box, stock standard as you can get, didn't do anything to it. For the stage, like I mentioned, this car was given by my dad. It's been in the family since 1981. He kept it in the garage hidden away. We use this for family holidays mainly, once every 2 years at most. And then obviously when I got it, start for ski. Future aspirations for this one, basically I'm going to keep this as is. There's nothing I want to fiddle around with it. There's a couple of minor beauty spots that has picked up over the years. It's understandable for a car that's 40 plus years old. So I just would like to get that fixed in the future. Originally, my dad bought this car. He bought a set of Cyclone wheels on it. Everyone should know the Cyclones. You'll see a set of it a bit later on one of my other cars. The set of wheels that I got on it now originally came from one of my Mark I's, and I just thought it fits this one so much better. So I moved it over to this car. You'll also notice the louvers. This thing has got the whole louver package. From the side louvers to the number plate louvers, back louver, you've even got the little make me go faster louvers on the wipers. As well as the little fiberglass boot spoiler. This was all gotten when the car was basically new in the early to late 80s. So I was installed by my father as a bit of an add-ons.
All right, so Steve, what a little gem. We can see that you're really looking after it. Let's hope to see many more miles. So Steve, surely out of all these vehicles, there must be one favorite memory that sticks in you.
Yes, of course. First one that pops to mind is, I remember, I think it was 2009, something close to that, where we went on a family holiday to Cape Town, or Cape area. And it was myself, my then girlfriend, which is now my wife, my brother, his girlfriend, my smaller brother. We were a whole family stacked into one car. I mean, the Granada was stacked. Now, at that stage, I won't be using the Granada obviously, the exhaust was a little bit too close to the body. So you can see where this is going. So this was underneath the passenger side of the back seat. So we were 4 people in the back seat, just as a reference. We had to physically rotate us 4 in the back to keep us our asses from cooking. We had to, every time we stopped, which, I mean, if you've got a Granada, you know how often that is. We had to stop every time we stopped. We had to rotate, so someone else would get a turn to get their asses cooked.
The hot seat, yes.
For the next for the next part of the journey. So yeah, that was a memory I think I will stick with me for quite some time.
Awesome. Nice. Steve, we have to thank you guys. Thank you for joining in and watching the content. Just please remember to like and subscribe and share any comments that you may have or questions. And until we see each other again, thank you.